what I am going to talk to you about to start with is just something I find that commonly happens when we do any sort of hold for hold wrestling. A lot of people start to panic, right? So they get overwhelmed. There's a million moves to learn. Chris Jericho's got his big scroll with like 1,000 submission holds. And if there's a lot to learn, it can become super overwhelming to have to remember every single move, every single step. So I'm going to talk you through a principle that you can apply so that you can troubleshoot. You can problem solve in the moment if you have no idea what to do. And we'll apply this in a second. So the 3 words you have to remember, and I know some of you have heard this before: grip, base, and space. So this is kind of how I, in my brain, like to put it when I'm out there wrestling. Okay, so if I don't know how to get out of a hold, if I'm feeling stuck in a position, I always think first, okay, grip. How can I break the grip? And that's probably the highest percentage of success rate, is breaking the grip. A lot of holds allow for that. So, for example, Bruno's got a wrist lock. So this is a good demonstration with the wrist lock because, firstly, it's super common. Okay, everyone uses wrist locks these days. But you can use all 3, the grip, the base, and the space, to counter this hold. So first thing I'm going to look for is to break the grip. If I don't know how to get out of this, obviously there's 1,000 ways, I can look to grab the grip and break it. Now the way Bruno's holding it, you never want to fight against the hold. So he has, at the moment, he has a nice opening down the bottom. Okay, so that's kind of where I probably want to go. So if I can isolate a wrist and pull the hand down, that could be one way to go. The other way we often try to go, and this is more common, is towards the fingers, because the fingers tend to break very easy. So if I was demonstrating on myself, if this is the attacker and this is the victim, we always go to where the fingers exit, right? So the fingers are closing there. We try to bring the wrist out. We don't try to push against the hold, up, down. It's like a brooch, like a little necklace, all right? You always go against that little hole. That's the best way out. So with the wrist lock, we look for the gap. Right now I see a nice gap on the bottom, isolate the wrist, bring it out, and then either I'm stuck, but I'm in a better position, now we're more 50-50, or here we go, I know how to do a wrist lock, there we go, I can take it from there. So it opens up more options. Another way to break a grip is a pressure point or a pressure hold. So if I'm here and for whatever reason I can't get to the grip or I can't break it from there, well, I could look at other things like putting pressure on the neck. I could look at putting pressure on the elbows. This works really well if we look at a leg lock. So a leg lock that we've covered recently where they take you down and isolate a leg, right? So I can't reach the grip from here. It's very difficult for me to strip this grip because if he starts cranking it as well, there's just no way I can get close. So in this position, another way to break the grip could be to put pressure. Maybe I use my free limbs to put pressure on the jaw. Maybe I look for an arm bar by using my leg. Okay, I could go this way. And you just play with it, see what works. Put a bit of pressure, see if it releases the hold a little, see if you can grab something else. So the first one is grip. Now if that doesn't work because you couldn't reach the grip, you couldn't put pressure on, the next one we go for is the base. So if we go back to the wrist lock, the base is whatever is connected to the ground. Right now, 2 legs. If we were down like we were just before with the leg lock, he's got his leg on the ground, he's got his hip on the ground, that's his base. So from here, a very simple way to break the base would be to isolate a leg. I could step in and go for a single leg, take that off the ground. I could also use my foot to trip his other leg. And he might still hold on to this submission hold, but at least we're in a different position that could open up more options. So that's the second one. Last one is space, and this is much less of a percentage, okay? You won't find this is often the case, but space just means moving to space. That could be rolling out of the hold, forwards, backwards, moving to a different level. In case of a wrist lock, I could roll through. Yes, I'm still in the hold, but it's a little bit of a looser position, a little bit more 50-50, it opens up a few more options. If I was to look at a good one's a Fujiwara armbar, okay? Another one we've covered recently. So if someone's locking a Fujiwara, I definitely can't reach the grip. I'm in a really compromised position. Breaking his base would be pretty tricky because he's got his hip and leg on the ground. It's not just one foot or one arm or whatever. Yes, I could try to roll him up and break his base that way, maybe go to a crucifix, but more often than not, it's not gonna happen. So from here, I'm stuck. The best way out may be to look for space. Be careful, don't roll against the hold. You don't want to crank it further. But in this position, I could try to roll through. Again, he's still got it, but I'm in more of a 50-50 position. Now I could look to, whatever, take a foot. There's a foot free. He's still got my wrist. I could look to take a wrist from here. Either way, this is where you start to play with stuff. So what I want you to do now is we're just going to have a partner, we're going to chain wrestle, and more experienced people, I want you to try to put them in situations they might not be comfortable with or used to. Just try stuff. Like, this is where we learn, where we create, where we start to bring things into our memory the more we practice it. So we will get the reps in, and I'll show you those fundamentals, but I want you to see where you land. So just roll around a bit. We'll go 1 or 2 minute rounds, then we'll swap partners. Just see what kind of positions you can put your partner in and see if they can figure out a way out. So look at the grip, look at the base, look at the space.
If you want to see more videos like this, click on the subscribe button, spread the word, and if you have any questions or requests for World Beater Wrestling, don't be afraid to comment below.